This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester. Transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Coopers Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Put your money in motion. Drive VMW, VM Wealth Management. Transform your everyday.
The time by VM Wealth Management is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Friday, June 27, 2025. Halfway through 2025, murders are down 42% year to date. Sarah says most of the dead babies at Victoria Jubilee Hospital were premature. NEPA says it will invest in equipment for more precise testing of environmental breaches. In regional news, Bermuda Air introduces flights to Anguilla. In international news, Iran carries out wave of arrests in wake of Israel conflict. In sports, big names in men's and women's 100 meters move on to the semifinals at the J3A's National Championships. And in business, UK car production hit 76-year low in May. The details after the break.
So where you get?
The new Popeyes blackened chicken sandwich, my girl. The flavor just hits different.
Blackened like it burn up?
Nah, man. Blackened because of the color of the Louisiana herbs and spices. Blackened like the flavor buck. No breading and the seasoning soaked deep in the chicken. But get yours and try it, cause me nah share yours. Get the new Popeyes blackened chicken sandwich. Limited time only.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is quietly marking a significant milestone in the fight against violent crime. Figures made available to our news center show that at this halfway point of the calendar year 2025, murders are down 42% compared to the first half of 2024. Between January 1 and June 26 last year, 576 Jamaicans were murdered. For the corresponding period this year, 334 murders were recorded. That's 242 fewer than last year. Significantly, the period January 1 to June 26 this year marks the first time in over 20 years that the JCF is recording fewer than 500 murders at the halfway point in a calendar year. This puts the country in position to register fewer than 800 murders forecast by the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang. Where major crimes are concerned, the figures are showing an overall decrease of 18% from January 1 to June 26 this year compared to the half-year point in 2024. The Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, says most of the babies who died recently at Victoria Jubilee Hospital were born prematurely and were already at risk of serious illness. The update follows reports that 24 premature babies have died at the hospital since the start of June. In a statement on Thursday, SARA explained that the babies had low birth weight and were born too early, making them more vulnerable. Speaking during Nationwide at 5 on Thursday, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie reiterated that there is no infection outbreak at the hospital. However, she confirmed there has been a sharp rise in very sick babies needing care this month.
Where for the previous months, when I look at the numbers, we would be seeing probably an average of 35% of the babies admitted being critically ill for the month of June, and certainly the first part of June we were seeing upwards of 50% critically ill babies being on the nursery. So it has been challenging. These babies are really vulnerable. What we're seeing is 55% of them are premature, some of them with extreme prematurity, meaning between 25 to 27 weeks. Remember that the term is 40 weeks. And we have been seeing them with low birth weight, about 60% with low birth weight, some of them with extremely low birth weight, which is less than 1,000 grams, which is actually less than half a pound. So this makes them very, very vulnerable.
Dr. Besesa McKenzie called the situation unusual and said it is linked to the sudden increase in the number of critically ill newborns.
Certainly there's a definitely increased compared to the earlier months, January to May, because when we look at the rate, the neonatal death rate, from January to May, we would have seen about a 14.8 per thousand. We compare per thousand live births, so it would have been 14.8. And when you look at these numbers now, it is over 70 per thousand. There's no doubt that this is an unusual situation, which is brought about by this increase in the number of critically ill babies.
And Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie, Chief Medical Officer. SARA says once the situation was noticed, it activated a special plan to manage the higher number of babies in the special care nursery. Extra measures were also put in place, including more space between babies, stricter infection control, more staff, and better equipment monitoring. A full investigation is underway. SARA says the public will be updated once the investigation is complete. Meanwhile, Dr. Besesa McKenzie shared the age demographic of the mothers impacted and emphasized the importance of proper prenatal care.
What we do know is that 50% of the mothers were below 24, with 25% of them being less than 20. We know that the very young persons are more vulnerable, especially in the first pregnancies. And we would have 12.5% of our mothers that were 35 years, where we would consider them to be at an advanced maternal age. So that is just one area that we have looked at so far. We are doing the further investigation to look at the other factors that there may be, because certainly it indicates where it is that we need to intervene. I can't really overemphasize the importance of adequate antenatal care.
And Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie, Chief Medical Officer. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, says it will be investing in equipment that will allow the agency to carry out more precise testing and detection of environmental breaches. The CEO of NEPA, Leonard Francis, made the announcement at a media briefing at the agency's head office in St. Andrew on Thursday. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The CEO of NEPA says the agency is looking into different ways of collecting samples.
We have been looking on drone technology. We have actually been looking on having automatic online monitors within the rear cobra itself, and that is part of what we are pursuing. So we are saying, one, we want to use the drone. We want to have automatic monitors that would give you real-time data from there. And we'll be looking on also using a system of cameras and using satellite imagery to help us as well. So that's where we are trying to go, because it's not only the rear cobra, which has very steep banks, unstable slopes, every vegetation. We have issues elsewhere in the country as well.
This revelation comes amid criticism following the decision of the Office of the DPP to discontinue a 2023 environmental pollution case against Wisynco Limited. The DPP's office cited a lack of evidence collected by the Environmental Protection Agency. Wisynco was charged under the Wildlife Protection Act following a report of a pipeline leakage into the Rio Cobre in St. Catherine in July 2023. The ODPP said no water samples were collected from the river or the leaking pipeline for scientific testing. It says this insufficient evidence rendered the prosecution legally unviable. The critical gaps in the case brought by NEPA have been described by many environmental stakeholders as a disgrace, but CEO Leonard Francis, in defending NEPA, maintains that the agency did the requisite due diligence related to the case. According to him, NEPA's evidence includes tests, witness statements, and photographs. Still, when pressed, he told Nationwide's Ricardo Brooks that NEPA could not be definitive in blaming the pollution on the beverage manufacturer.
Did the sampling conclusively prove that the effluent that was in the river did in fact come from Wisynco?
I could not say yes to that, but you could have a cause and effect. What we can tell you is that the samples collected showed that you had very high levels of BOD, and there were other levels as well that were out. I could not definitively state that we could say it came definitively from Wisynco. Now, the reality is that there's no doubt that the pipe was burst. There's no doubt that waste was going in the river. And we believe that that would have been fulfilled based on the face of the statute.
But the ODPP, in a follow-up statement response, stated that it sought clarity from NEPA as to why samples were not taken from the immediate area where the fluids were seen gushing into the river. According to the ODPP, it was revealed that the pipeline was very high up off the ground and the area below was inaccessible. The ODPP added that though it is sympathetic regarding the reasons for not taking the samples, the prosecution could not continue without the requisite evidentiary material to mount a viable case. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, DPP Paulo Llewellyn says there may be a need to revise the existing laws and regulations to allow NEPA to impose administrative sanctions for certain breaches. She says the evidentiary standard required by a court may sometimes prove out of reach.
I think they need to move to that, because you see what they are doing is taking their senses. They had, under the Wastewater Act regulations, had a total plan. This is what they get from the companies in these watershed areas. And they, according to the plan, detailed plans, they know what sort of effluent or trade effluent is supposed to go through the pipes. But Courthouse does not deal with assumption and speculation and suspicion. You have to prove that on the day of the commission of the offense, you have to prove each ingredient.
DPP Paulo Llewellyn. An independent remuneration authority is being recommended as a means to solve concerns surrounding the salaries of parliamentarians. The recommendation follows an assessment of Jamaica's parliamentary system by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA. The CPA made the recommendation after noting the most recent furore over the increase granted to politicians under the last public sector salary restructuring. Siobhan Campbell has that story.
In May of 2023, the government came under fire after salaries for parliamentarians and other political representatives were increased by nearly 200%. To date, public sector groups continue to decry the increase compared to those granted to average civil servants. According to a report from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA, the increase over the 2022-2024 period makes Jamaica's politicians among the best paid in the region. The International Group of Parliamentarians and Parliamentary Staff says this was part of a broader public sector compensation review following the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the CPA says it received some criticism at the time from the members of the public who felt that this uplift was unnecessary given the health of the national economy. The CPA says it also learned that a substantial portion of Parliament's annual budget is dedicated to members' remuneration and other related services. This, it says, means that various other important activities in the legislature do not always receive the funding they need. The CPA says Parliament may wish to explore alternative means of setting salaries more commensurately moving forward to ensure that other key elements of legislatures' operations are also receiving sufficient levels of investment. It says the ideal practice demonstrated in other Commonwealth jurisdictions is for payments made to members of Parliament to be regulated by an independent remuneration authority. This authority will have clear procedures for monitoring and publishing relevant financial disclosures. It says at present no such body exists in Jamaica. The CPA says its establishment would be a strong demonstration of positive transparency and accountability and bring the Parliament in line with other Commonwealth legislatures. The CPA is one of the oldest established organizations in the Commonwealth. Founded in 1911, it is a membership association made up of over 180 legislatures, collaborating on issues of mutual interest and sharing best practices. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Joint Select Committee considering an Elderly Care and Protection Act has accepted a recommendation requiring certain groups of children to maintain their parents in older age. Senator Shireen Golding Campbell is chairman of the committee.
In cases that what includes those persons are situations where it can be shown that the parent was present and participatory, and that can be done through various mechanisms. I can think of, simply affidavit of somebody maybe not related to the person who is in a position to know and who can put an affidavit before the court, before the tribunal. And indicate that, yes, I am aware that John Brown was a father to this child and did look after this child and did participate in this child's life.
Senator Floyd Morris says the provision would allow for an overall healthier dynamic between parents and children.
It is very important here, you see, because how we frame it can be a game changer in terms of individuals' care of their children, because it cannot be that individuals don't care and support their children, and yet still the law compels those children to care and protect for the parents at a later stage. So, again, it can be a game-changing provision.
A recommendation was also approved for older persons to have the ability to grant to someone the power of attorney, which would extend despite the grantor reaching a state of incapacity. A recommendation granting the ability of guardianship, even for persons outside of the country, has also been approved. The committee also approved a recommendation to establish an older person's advocate, which would have similar rights and responsibilities as the children's advocate. This would include the right to represent older persons in court and reporting duties to Parliament. It is also being recommended that a person who is 60 years be considered an older person. The report is expected to be tabled in the Senate today, Friday. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Be in the know. Learn how local government is working for you. Follow us on Instagram and X at LocalGovJA and on Facebook at Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. The time by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is
6:18.
The gateway for Jamaica's athletes to several international competitions, including the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan, opens from Thursday, June 26 to Sunday, June 29 for the J3A National Junior and Senior Championships, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. each day. The biggest names in local track and field, with the men's section including the likes of Olympic silver medalist Kashane Thompson, Oblique Seville, Akeem Blake, Antonio Watson, Christopher Taylor, Rashid Broadbell, Olympic champion Roger Stoner, Rodrindra Campbell, Wayne Pinna, and Romaine Beckford. The female division will be no less fascinating, with two-time reigning world champion Sharika Jackson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, the Clayton Twins, Tia and Tina, Alana Reed, Akira Nugent, Rochelle Clayton, and Shanika Ricketts. The action will be sizzling.
Jamaica, it's live and direct back again. Saturday, June 28th, live in concert. Brian McKnight.
Hey everyone, it's Brian McKnight.
And Drew Hill.
It's your boy Cisco and Drew Hill.
Taking place at the Constant Spring Golf Club. Get your tickets now. Sponsored by Supreme Ventures Limited, Courtly Hospital Group, Mothers, Island Grill, CPJ, J. Ray and Nephew Limited, Hertz, Budget Car Rental, Mayberry Investments, and Main Event. It's live and direct. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. at the Constant Spring Golf Club.
June 28th, Kingston. I'll see you there.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, Bermuda Air has announced the launch of Anguilla Air, the airline's first major expansion beyond Bermuda. The new service, launching December 19, 2025, will offer direct flights from Boston and Baltimore to Anguilla, representing the airline's first scheduled destination outside of Bermuda and its growing footprint in the Caribbean region. The expansion signals what Bermuda Air describes as a powerful new era in Caribbean connectivity, driven by the airline's signature island hospitality and a vision to link island communities. The announcement comes after a year of consistent progress for the airline, which has played a key role in restoring air service, generating demand, and supporting Bermuda's tourism and economy. Anguilla offers what the airline characterizes as a natural complement to its premium in-flight experience. Iranian authorities have carried out a wave of arrests and multiple executions of people suspected of links to Israeli intelligence agencies in the wake of the recent war between the two countries. It follows what officials describe as an unprecedented infiltration of Iranian security services by Israeli agents. Iranian authorities suspect information fed to Israel played a part in a series of high-profile assassinations during the conflict. This included the targeted killings of senior commanders from the elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and nuclear scientists, which Iran attributes to operatives of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency working inside the country. Shaken by the scale and precision of these killings, authorities have been targeting anyone suspected of working with foreign intelligence, saying it is for the sake of national security. But many fear this is also a way to silence dissent and tighten control over the population. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Win, then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the wanna bet, just bet promotions. Spend $1,500 or more on one just bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
From visas to green cards, the Consular Queen at Barrett Immigration is your trusted guide for all things U.S. immigration. As a premier immigration consulting firm, we help reunite families and resolve your toughest immigration issues with care, speed, and affordability. Call now at 470-593-8448. That's 470-593-8448. Barrett Immigration, where the Consular Queen helps you unite families and change lives.
Forget ordinary, think Liqui-Moly. Get a 15% discount on all Liqui-Moly oils and additives from April 25th to July 30th at all Burt's Auto Parts locations. Buy 4 or more Liqui-Moly engine oils or 4 transmission oils, you get a free LM40 all-purpose cleaner. But hurry up, the offer runs while stocks last and conditions apply. Forget ordinary, think Liqui-Moly. And remember, it hurts if you don't check Burt's.
Time now for your morning sports. The big names in the men's and women's 100 meters all had safe passages to the semifinals at the J3A's National Championships at the National Stadium. Brian Lavelle stood out among the men with a smooth 9.99 seconds to win his heat and take the fastest time into Friday night's semifinals. Lavelle was the only sprinter to dip below 10 seconds. Defending champion Kishane Thompson won his heat in 10.12 seconds. Oblique Seville 10.12 and Akeem Blake at 10.07 seconds also won their heats. Johan Blake and Chris Taylor are also through. On the women's side, defending champion Sharika Jackson leads the qualifiers after winning her quarterfinal in 11.20 seconds. Her MVP mate Tia Clayton was second fastest with 11.21 seconds. Also making progress were Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, who won her heat in 11.33 seconds, and Tina Clayton, 11.27 seconds. In the women's 400 meters, Nikisha Price eased into the semifinals with 50.68 seconds to win her heat. Stacey Williams won the next best with 51.13 seconds. Also advancing were Dejanay Oakley and Shaquina Foote. Olympic finalist Akeelia Smith won her third straight women's long jump title with a wind-aided 6.81 meters. Now, Nationwide 90 FM will have coverage of the championships with live commentary on the evening session starting on Friday with the semifinals of the women's 100 meters at 6:30. Kenya's serial world record breaker Faith Kipyegon on Thursday failed in her bid to become the first woman in history to run a mile in under 4 minutes. The 31-year-old clocked 4 minutes 06.42 seconds in perfect conditions in Paris, running at the Breaking 4 event. The time will not be recognized as an official record because she was assisted by a team of male and female pacemakers. She also wore technologically advanced kit and shoes. The time was 1.22 seconds faster than her world record of 4 minutes 07.64 seconds set in 2023, nearly 5 seconds faster than any other female athlete in history has run for the distance. She was kitted out in an aerodynamic skin suit and specifically designed spikes as she targeted sub-60 second laps, an average speed of about 15 miles or 24 kilometers per hour. The first cricket test between West Indies and Australia is interestingly poised, entering Friday's third day at Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados. The Aussies will resume on 92 for 4 in their second innings, a lead of 82 with Travis Head 13 and Beau Webster 19 to continue the battle. Earlier, West Indies were bowled out for 119 in their first innings, a lead of 10 after resuming Thursday morning on 57 for 4. Shea Hope top scored with 48, Captain Roston Chase 44, and Alzari Joseph an unbeaten 23. Michelle Stark took 3 for 65, Josh Hazelwood 2 for 41, and Pat Cummins 2 for 34. Mitch Stark says the game is there for their taking.
There's obviously a lot of time. As I said, the wicket still has enough there for bowlers. So yeah, we'll try and get as many as we can. And you know, if that's back into or whenever it may be, then hopefully it's a total that we can defend as bowlers and make it tough for the West Indies.
Mitchell Stark wrapping up your morning sports.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sanssouci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
In business this morning, UK car production in May sank to its lowest level since 1949 as US tariffs hit exports. Production fell by nearly a third from a year earlier to 49,810 units. The Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, SMMT, says it's the lowest figure for 76 years, excluding the period hit by the 2020 COVID pandemic lockdowns. Exports to the U.S. halved as President Donald Trump's tariffs caused some UK car makers to halt shipments. However, SMMT says U.S. import taxes on UK cars are due to be cut by the end of June, giving cause for optimism. The drop in exports to the U.S. came after the Trump administration announced a new 25% tariffs on cars and car parts in March. This depressed demand and forced many manufacturers to stop shipments. Jaguar Land Rover suspended shipments to the U.S. in April, while Aston Martin reduced exports after the tariffs were imposed earlier in the month. The U.S. share of UK exports fell from nearly a fifth to just over a tenth in May. Nike says U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on key trading partners could add around $1 billion to its costs this year. Company executives also said the sportswear giant would cut its reliance on producing goods in China to ease the impact of U.S. trade policies. Last month, Nike said it would raise prices on some trainers and clothing in the U.S. from early June. Weeks after rival Adidas warned it would have to hike the cost of goods due to tariffs. Nike's shares jumped by more than 10% in extended trading after the firm forecast a smaller drop in first quarter revenue than many analysts had expected. The company's earnings for the last 3 months also topped estimates, despite being its worst quarterly figures for more than 3 years. Nike announced fourth quarter revenue of $11.1 billion, the lowest since the third quarter of 2022. And in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar will open trading today, selling for an average $161.46 against the US dollar. The Jamaican dollar will open trading today, selling for an average $118.42 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican will open trading today, selling for an average $220.24 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
6:32.
And vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores,
we're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky.
JPS, powering what matters.
Get ready for the Magic 5K Summer Run Walk presented by Lorna Auto Prep. Join us on June 29, 2025 at Lorna Auto Prep for an exciting 5K race starting at 7 a.m. It's fun, fitness, and community all in one. Early bird registration is just $1,200. Groups of 10 or more pay $1,200 each, and regular entry is $1,500. Sign up now at lornaautopprepja.com/5K. Run for health, win for life.
Jamaica, it's live and direct back again. Saturday, June 28th, live in concert. Brian McKnight.
Hey everyone, it's Brian McKnight.
And Drew Hill.
It's your boy Cisco, Andrew Hill.
Taking place at the Constant Spring Golf Club. Get your tickets now. Sponsored by Supreme Ventures Limited, Courtly Hospital Group, Mothers, Island Grill, CPJ, J. Ray and Nephew Limited, Hertz, Budget Car Rental, Mayberry Investments, and Main Event. It's live and direct. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. at the Constant Spring Golf Club.
June 28th, Kingston. I'll see you there.
This shit that ice cold, Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls, straight masterpieces. Styling, wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent, gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman, I'm too hot. Make a dragon wanna retire, man, I'm too hot.
It's that type of morning. Good morning. It's a Friday morning right here on Nationwide this morning. If you're on your way to work, if you're already at work, if you're at home, wherever you are listening, it's a good morning to be here. I'm Sondre Roden.
And I happen to be Siobhan Campbell this day.
King, I think you should give me like a piece of that song. That's the energy was right. You must know this one, Siobhan.
Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Don't believe me, just watch.
All right, that's the music. That's the music for now, Siobhan. And if it was me alone, we'd continue. Yeah.
That wouldn't be a very productive use of time now, would it?
I'll say nothing more to you, Siobhan. I'll say nothing more to you, Siobhan. Well, good morning to all those people in the chat. I see you, Jackie, Pottinger, Sharon, a number of people here in the chat. Jam Gran, I see you in the chat. Josephine, I see you in the chat. Jacqueline Thomas, Charmaine Walker, all our YouTubers, all our listeners, all our friends. It's a good morning. It's a good Friday morning.
Good morning to you all. It's been quite the week, and what a way to end the week. I understand yesterday, I wasn't here unfortunately, but the Integrity Commission pointed out that they've tabled their annual report. I suspect it will most likely be tabled next week, Tuesday, because they sent it to the Parliament on a Thursday, which is interesting. So I would not expect to see that in the Parliament until next week. I see people already suggesting there's going to be attempts to not table it. I think that is highly unlikely, as much as I don't think the annual report is going to reveal any information regarding any of the parliamentarians on the investigation for illicit enrichment, because that would not be the document in which such information would be brought to light. And I think if anything would come from that document, it's just probably more people ending up being under investigation or less. I don't know until we see the document when it comes out. But I think people who expect that there's going to be some kind of bombshell dropped in that report need to temper their expectations a bit.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with you. No questions there.
Because then again, I don't know, even if there was a potential bombshell in it, I think it would be a little insane for the Integrity Commission to table something with that kind of explosive content so close to an election.
I think the bombshell would probably be a number, because that's what happened a couple of years ago. I'm sure you remember the phrase illicit. Illicit was just that was literally from a report, and it was just a number. A number was just taken by the opposition, ran with it, and that was it. But there was not anything
but that
concrete
number means
coming
nothing
out.
without information.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't have the information, if you don't know exactly who, what the probe is about, what the conclusions, recommendations are, then we're just literally waiting. We're waiting.
So yeah. I think people who expect some kind of explosive thing from that annual report when it is tabled next week, if it is tabled next week, temper your expectations. I'm sure we might get a few tidbits there and some information regarding things, but it's not going to be, say, ex-MP or ex-parliamentarian has been charged with illicit enrichment or anything to that extent. It's nothing to that extent has existed in any annual report before it, and I don't expect to see any such thing in an annual report going forward. But what really troubled me was, I don't know if you saw that video yesterday of the boy who, I don't know if it just threw that stone into the back of the woman's head.
Yeah, I saw it.
That video was excessively disturbing.
Yeah.
Because there was such a deliberacy to the act.
Mm-hmm. It was up close, personal, right behind her, just 2 feet, if so much.
And it was such a callous thing that it took me so much off guard. I don't know if there was some altercation, that led to it, or it was such a deliberate and callous thing for a young man to do to a woman that it completely took me off guard.
Yeah. Same here. It was hard to watch. It wasn't something I could have watched again because I was wondering what the context is. Then I realized that social media tried to give it some context, but I still don't have all the information where I sit. But I hear there's some predating altercation and a bunch of things happening on a bus, but it isn't confirmed. Yeah, it isn't confirmed, and just watching that the fact that he thought of that, executed it, and then he ran off.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
It's tried to sneak off into the wind after doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
But, I mean, outside of that, we have everybody know that the dust is starting to settle in terms of the Iran, US, Israel back and forth. Everybody claiming victory. Nobody's suggesting that they've lost anything. And while all this is going on, Iran is executing people and arresting and imprisoning each other after saying, well, this did nothing. This didn't shake us at all. So why are you arresting people and executing people and trying to get to the bottom of how information was leaked if you were so assured that you have not been touched?
It's funny because it also shows us the information, where the information goes, because of course the United States seem to have acted on very accurate information to actually hit Iran where it hurts or doesn't hurt, according to Iran. But it's interesting to see. I want to see what plays out between Israel and Iran in terms of negotiations, because I don't think it stops here. I genuinely don't think it stops here, Siobhan.
And they want to bring Iran back to the negotiating table. As part of that agreement, they will assist them with a civilian nuclear research program, which is an interesting thing. I think it makes sense in terms of, okay, you say that your program is specifically for civilian purposes. We will assist you with civilian purposes to see how truthful that statement is. But I doubt it, and I doubt there's any truthfulness behind that notion that Iran is seeking nuclear energy for specifically peaceful civilian purposes. My understanding of geopolitics and world history really gives me a very dubious agreement in terms of Iran seeking solely a peaceful nuclear program. But at the end of the day, I would like to see things settle. So if they can come back to the negotiating table and bring this matter to a close as necessary to bring peace to that region, I'm all for it.
You're optimistic, Siobhan. I'm not as optimistic as you.
It's not optimism, it's hope. Different.
It's hope. Well, hope, optimism in a multipolar world, which means for those listeners who, you don't study those things, you don't know those phrases, it's basically saying there are many powers in the world. We still have Russia-Ukraine going on. That has not stopped. Remember, that has not stopped. President Trump, you promised the world and the American people that you'd stop it in what, 90 days? Or was that the promise?
Was it 90 days? Didn't he say day one?
Day one, probably day one. And day 1, 2, 3, we've passed the 100 days. You're well into it, and Russia-Ukraine is still going on. So you think Israel and Iran is going to come to the negotiating table? Oh, come on.
It's not so much Israel-Iran coming to the negotiating
Gaza.
table.
Somebody said Gaza's still hurting. I didn't even mention Gaza yet. That matter is not going to
be settled anytime soon. I'm talking about the more immediate concern of Iran becoming a nuclear power. That is the matter that I think needs to be settled before that escalation becomes a serious threat.
I have my thoughts, but I have my thoughts. I'll reserve them.
This is the place to share them.
No, man, I'll reserve them. I'll reserve them. Let me just say that international politics is very hypocritical. So
no doubt.
those are my thoughts.
But you have to choose your hypocrites in these situations. And I have chosen I have chosen my hypocrite in this matter.
Well, let's see if they actually come up with something sensible, feasible after going to the negotiation table. Let's see if it ends here. Will it? Doubt it. But, we have some other days and ways to go when it comes down to international politics, listeners. But we are going for a break. We'll be right back with you.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 6:48.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is...
It's 28 degrees here in the capital city, Kingston. It's 26 out west in Montego Bay. And it's 23 in Mandeville.
JANAC Global Accreditation, promoting consumer confidence, facilitating market access through internationally accepted accreditation and training services. Accreditation, your visa for global access. Accredited once, accepted everywhere. Call JANAC Global Accreditation at 876-968-7790 or visit our website at www.janac.gov.jm.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
When you hear those horns, you know what time it is. It's time for Street Smart, but we have not yet found Ludlow McLean. He is out there on the streets and he hasn't really gotten to the part of the street with the connectivity to reach to us right now. He's out there getting the information for you, but I suspect that a little later he'll give you as accurate information. Right now, as I can see it, the traffic has not yet started to build up in some areas as it would. It's just about 6:51. But of course, if you're on the Nelson Mandela Highway, you can see some form of build-up happening there, Siobhan, if you are heading in to Kingston City and surrounding areas. If you're heading out, it's not as building up as we expect in the Halfway Tree region. Of course, there are people who are heading to work, so nice steady flow. And those who are on their way to work, I hope you are out and up early, because if you're coming on the Nelson Mandela Highway, you might have a bit of a holdup if you continue as the traffic trickles at this time.
Oh boy, I'm not used to. Interesting enough that there's other two scenarios. Either I'm getting up too early for there to be traffic, or I'm getting up late enough that the traffic has already passed. So it's never a scenario where I'm up in time to see traffic.
I think we just need to find a solution to this traffic problem. But what I will
we need
say,
less cars on the road. People taking public transport, but for that you need to fix the public transport.
Yeah, it's cause and effect really. When you look at it, Siobhan, and when we get to that point, because I don't think it's really mind blowing, but it's very interesting when you can travel in some first world countries and you see the ease of it and the timing of it and that type of thing. That really guides how you view other things in the world. Because when I was in the UK, it was just a matter of which bus you would take, and you just stand up, you look on the thing by the side there, you see the times they're coming, and you know that a bus will come at X time, and you get on your bus and you go about your business.
I mean, realistically, a city the size of Kingston or the greater KMTR region, you shouldn't need a private vehicle outside of special occasions.
Yeah, I get that.
But it is what it is.
My favorite celebrities who lives in New York. He's a part of a car club. He doesn't own a car. He's a part of a car club. So if he would need a car, he would just go and pick one of the many cars in the club,
rent something.
Yeah, and then he just drives. But he says, other than that, and I'm saying he's a celebrity, he goes on the train. He takes the train like everybody else. So that's it for Street Smart. If you aren't on in your own car, you probably are on a bus or in a taxi. Yeah.
It is now time for Word of the Day, listeners. The word of the day today is G-L-A-I-R or G-L-A-I-R-E. It can be spelled either way, so it's G-L-A-I-R or G-L-A-I-R-E.
Glare. Glare. Glare.
So, yes, listeners, the word is glare, G-L-A-I-R or G-L-A-I-R-E. It's a noun. It is the white of an egg, a glaze or size made of egg white, any viscous substance like egg white. So it is G-L-A-I-R or G-L-A-I-R-E. And to use that in a sentence now, we have an example sentence here. If the gold should be injured in any way, the press must be tilted so as to allow a little glare to run under the gold to the spot, and then a larger piece is laid over the faulty place. So the word of the day is G-L-A-I-R or G-L-A-I-R-E.
And that is not G-L-A-R-E any at all. Because it sounds so similar. Well, that's it. We'll have our features now, and at the top of the hour, we'll have the news.
Social media plays a big role in teen life, offering both benefits and risks. How teens use these platforms and the content they engage with can significantly impact their development. As a parent, you know your child best. This week on Parenting Tips, we'll give you some tips to help guide your teen in using social media safely and effectively. The teenage brain is still developing, and this phase plays a crucial role in emotional and social growth. Social media platforms can take advantage of a teen's need for peer approval, especially with features like the like button, which can lead to endless scrolling. However, because areas of the brain responsible for self-control are still maturing, this can become problematic. What can you do? Set limits on social media, especially on platforms that encourage excessive use. Use screen time settings on devices to help your teen practice moderation, and make sure they get enough sleep. At least 8 hours a night to support healthy brain development. It's important to monitor your teen's social media activity and have regular discussions about it. Set time limits on screen use and supervise their online behavior, particularly when they're younger. Be cautious of the content they encounter and limit communication with strangers. Keep the conversation open and non-judgmental, allowing your teen to share their experiences freely. Ask them about what they've been seeing online, how they interpret it, and talk through hypothetical situations that help them think critically about handling challenges like online bullying or peer pressure. Teens often learn from the behavior of adults, so it's crucial to model good digital habits. Avoid using social media during family time, like meals or outings, and set personal boundaries around your social media use. Share with your teen why you use social media and encourage them to follow your example. Consider taking a family break from social media and discussing how it feels to be unplugged for a while. Keep an eye on whether social media is interfering with your teen's daily life. If they neglect their responsibilities, skip out on in-person social interactions, or lose sleep due to late-night scrolling, this could be a sign of overuse. If they continue using social media even after saying they want to stop, or if they become secretive about their online activities, it's time to take action. What can you do? Talk to your teen about their social media use and, if needed, set more strict limits. If you're concerned about psychological impacts, consider reaching out to a mental health professional for guidance on how to better manage their digital habits. Social media literacy is essential for helping teens to navigate their online world responsibly. Encourage them to think critically about the content they encounter and help them understand both the risks and rewards of being online. Schools, social platforms, and parents all play a role in teaching teens how to use social media in a way that promotes positive experiences and reduces potential dangers. That's all for parenting tips this week.
Fearless and fair, Nationwide 90 FM.
Motherhood is the start of a new chapter in every woman's life. I'm Tana, and today on Lifestyle Pages, it's all about the new mommies. You have read the books and heard all the testimonials, but you think you're not ready to be a mom. Don't worry. This is a normal reaction for new moms, and it will get better. As you bond with your newborn, it's important that you sleep while the baby sleeps. In this early stage, they only want mommy. So don't frustrate yourself with chores at this time. You need your rest as much as the baby does. Introduce a bottle early. This not only gives you more time to rest while grandma has the baby, it also fills them up a little more so they sleep longer. Newborns always have gas. One way to relieve this is to place your baby on their back and rotate the legs of the baby in a bicycle pedaling motion. Try to build a routine for sleeping and stick to it. Those were your Lifestyle Pages. I'm Tana.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Normal Bay. The temperature by National Supply is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 this morning, Friday, June 27, 2025. Halfway through 2025 and murders have declined by 42%. Sarah confirms most of the dead babies at Victoria Jubilee Hospital were born premature. NEPA says it will invest in equipment for more precise testing of environmental samples. And in international news, Iran carries out a wave of arrests in wake of Israeli conflict.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is quietly marking a significant milestone in the fight against violent crime. Figures made available to our news center show that at this, the halfway point of the calendar year 2025, murders are down 42% compared to the first half of 2024. Between January 1 and June 26 last year, 576 Jamaicans were murdered. For the corresponding period this year, 334 murders have been recorded. That's 242 fewer than last year. Significantly, the period January 1 to June 26 this year marks the first time in over 20 years that the JCF is recording fewer than 500 murders at the halfway point in a calendar year. This puts the country in position to register fewer than the 800 murders forecast by the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang. Where major crimes are concerned, the figures are showing an overall decrease of 18% from January 1 to June 26 this year compared to the half-year point in 2024. The Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, says most of the babies who died recently at Victoria Jubilee Hospital were born prematurely and were already at risk of serious illness. The update follows reports that 24 premature babies have died at the facility since the start of June. In a statement on Thursday, SARA explained that the babies had low birth weight and were born too early, making them more vulnerable. Speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Thursday, the country's chief medical officer, Dr. Jacqueline Bisaser McKenzie, reiterated that there is no infection outbreak at the hospital. However, she confirmed there has been a sharp rise in very sick babies needing care this month.
Where for the previous months, when I look at the numbers, we would be seeing probably an average of 35% of the babies admitted being critically ill. For the month of June, and certainly the first part of June, we were seeing upwards of 50% critically ill babies being on the nursery. So it has been challenging. These babies are really vulnerable. What we're seeing is 55% of them are premature, some of them with extreme prematurity, meaning between 25 to 27 weeks. Remember that the term is 40 weeks. And we have been seeing them with low birth weight, about 60% with low birth weight, some of them with extremely low birth weight, which is less than 1,000 grams, which is actually less than half a pound. So this makes them very, very vulnerable.
Dr. Bisaser McKenzie called the situation unusual and said it's linked to the sudden increase in the number of critically ill newborns.
Certainly there's a definitely increased compared to the earlier months, January to May, because when we look at the rate, the neonatal death rate, from January to May, we would have seen about a 14.8 per thousand. We compare per thousand live births, so it would have been 14.8. And when you look at these numbers now, it is over 70 per thousand. There's no doubt that this is an unusual situation, which is brought about by this increase in the number of critically ill babies.
Meanwhile, Dr. Bisaser McKenzie shared the age demographic of the mothers impacted and emphasized the importance of proper prenatal care.
So what we do know is that 50% of the mothers were below 24, with 25% of them being less than 20. We know that the very young persons are more vulnerable, especially in the first pregnancies. And we would have 12.5% of our mothers that were 35 years, where we would consider them to be at an advanced maternal age. So that is just one area that we have looked at so far. We are doing the further investigation to look at the other factors that there may be, because certainly it indicates where it is that we need to intervene. I can't really overemphasize the importance of adequate antenatal care.
Dr. Jacqueline Bisaser McKenzie, the country's chief medical officer. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, says it will be investing in equipment that will allow it to carry out more precise testing and the detection of environmental breaches. The CEO of NEPA, Leonard Francis, made the announcement at a media briefing at the agency's head office in St. Andrew on Thursday. Mahira Stewart reports.
The CEO of NEPA says the agency is looking into different ways of collecting samples.
We have been looking on drone technology. We have actually been looking on having automatic online monitors within the Ray Cobra itself. And that is part of what we were pursuing. So we are saying, one, we want to use the drone. We want to have automatic monitors that would give you real-time data from there. And we'll be looking on also using a system of cameras and using satellite imagery to help us as well. So that's where we are trying to go, because it's not only the Rio Cobre, which has very steep banks, unstable slopes, every vegetation. We have issues elsewhere in the country as well.
This revelation comes amid criticism following the decision of the Office of the DPP to discontinue a 2023 environmental pollution case against Wisynco Limited. The DPP's office cited a lack of evidence collected by the Environmental Protection Agency. Wisynco was charged under the Wildlife Protection Act following a report of a pipeline leakage into the Rio Cobre in St. Catherine in July 2023. The ODPP said no water samples were collected from the river or the leaking pipeline for scientific testing. It says this insufficient evidence rendered the prosecution legally unviable. The critical gaps in the case brought by NEPA have been described by many environmental stakeholders as a disgrace. But CEO Leonard Francis, in defending NEPA, maintains that the agency did the requisite due diligence related to the case. According to him, NEPA's evidence includes tests, witness statements, and photographs. Still, when pressed, he told Nationwide's Ricardo Brooks that NEPA could not be definitive in blaming the pollution on the beverage manufacturer.
Did the sampling conclusively prove that the effluent that was in the river did in fact come from Wisynco?
I could not say yes to that, but you could have a cause and effect. What we can tell you is that the samples collected showed that you had very high levels of BOD, and there were other levels as well that were out. I could not definitively state that we could say it came definitively from Wisynco. Now, the reality is that there's no doubt that the pipe was burst. There's no doubt that waste was going in the river. And we believe that that would have been fulfilled based on the face of the statute.
But the ODPP, in a follow-up statement response, stated that it sought clarity from NEPA as to why samples were not taken from the immediate area where the fluids were seen gushing into the river. According to the ODPP, it was revealed that the pipeline was very high up off the ground and the area below was inaccessible. The ODPP added that though it is sympathetic regarding the reasons for not taking the samples, the prosecution could not continue without the requisite evidentiary material to mount a viable case. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the DPP Paul Llewellyn says there may be a need to revise the existing laws and regulations to allow NEPA to impose administrative sanctions for certain breaches. She says the evidentiary standard required by a court may sometimes prove out of reach.
I think they need to move to that, because you see what they are doing is taking their senses. They had, under the Wastewater Act regulations, had a total plan. This is what they get from the companies in these watershed areas. And they, according to the plan, detailed plans, they know what sort of effluent or trade effluent is supposed to go through the pipes. But courthouse does not deal with assumption and speculation and suspicion. You have to prove that on the day of the commission of the offense, you have to prove each ingredient.
DPP Paul Llewellyn. An independent remuneration authority is being recommended as a means to solve concerns surrounding the salaries of parliamentarians. The recommendation follows an assessment of Jamaica's parliamentary system by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA. The CPA made the recommendation after noting the most recent furore over the increase granted to politicians under the last public sector salary restructuring. Siobhan Campbell has that story.
In May of 2023, the government came under fire after salaries for parliamentarians and other political representatives were increased by nearly 200%. To date, public sector groups continue to decry the increase compared to those granted to average civil servants. According to a report from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA, the increase over the 2022-2024 period makes Jamaica's politicians among the best paid in the region. The International Group of Parliamentarians and Parliamentary Staff says this was part of a broader public sector compensation review following the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the CPA says it received some criticism at the time from the members of the public who felt that this uplift was unnecessary given the health of the national economy. The CPA says it also learned that a substantial portion of Parliament's annual budget is dedicated to members' remuneration and other related services. This, it says, means that various other important activities in the legislature do not always receive the funding they need. The CPA says Parliament may wish to explore alternative means of setting salaries more commensurately moving forward to ensure that other key elements of legislatures' operations are also receiving sufficient levels of investment. It says the ideal practice demonstrated in other Commonwealth jurisdictions is for payments made to members of Parliament to be regulated by an independent remuneration authority. This authority will have clear procedures for monitoring and publishing relevant financial disclosures. It says at present no such body exists in Jamaica. The CPA says its establishment would be a strong demonstration of positive transparency and accountability and bring the Parliament in line with other Commonwealth legislatures. The CPA is one of the oldest established organizations in the Commonwealth. Founded in 1911, it is a membership association made up of over 180 legislatures, collaborating on issues of mutual interest and sharing best practices. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Joint Select Committee considering an Elderly Care and Protection Act has accepted a recommendation requiring certain groups of children to maintain their parents in old age. Senator Shireen Golding Campbell is chairman of the committee.
In cases that what includes those persons are situations where it can be shown that the parent was present and participatory, and that can be done through various mechanisms. I can think of, simply affidavit of somebody maybe not related to the person who is in a position to know and who can put an affidavit before the court, before the tribunal. And indicate that, yes, I am aware that John Brown was a father to this child and did look after this child and did participate in this child's life.
Senator Floyd Morris, the opposition senator, says the provision would allow for an overall healthier dynamic between parents and their children.
It is very important here, you see, because how we frame it can be a game changer in terms of individuals' care of their children, because it cannot be that individuals don't care and support their children, and yet still the law compels those children to care and protect for the parents at a later stage. So, again, it can be a game-changing provision.
A recommendation was also approved for older persons to have the ability to grant someone the power of attorney, which would extend despite the grantor reaching a state of incapacity. A recommendation granting the ability of guardianship even for persons outside of the country has also been approved. The committee also approved a recommendation to establish an older persons advocate, which would have similar rights and responsibilities as the children's advocate. This would include the right to represent older persons in court and reporting duties to Parliament. It's also being recommended that a person who is 60 years and older be considered an older person. The report is set to be tabled in the Senate later on this Friday morning. The Ministry of Finance is set to meet with the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTU, to discuss the start of new wage negotiations. This as the ministry responded to a letter sent by the JCTU on June 12 regarding the matter. JTCU President St. Patrice Ennis made the disclosure with our news center on Thursday.
The ministry has responded and has suggested a meeting date for next week. But our issue with the minister's statement is that I believe the minister misspoke. The minister was conflating issues, wherein the minister seemed to have been suggesting that the payment of the 7.5% explains why there is a 0% offer and treating it as a salary increase. We are saying that these are delayed payments for increment for the years 22 to 23, 23 to 24, and 24 to 25. It has nothing to do really with our wage claims. Our wage claim is for the 25-26 contract period and for the 26 to 27 contract period.
Ennis also highlighted that incremental payments have been made to a majority of workers outside of the Southeast Regional Health Authority.
We have had subsequent communication from the ministry, and some of the increment will indeed be settled in July. And so that we will not be making much fuss about, because we understand that things can go awry, no matter how well you have prepared yourselves. So we have had communication that some persons will have their increment being paid in July, and we know that some have received their increment. But for most persons outside of the Sierra region, my understanding is that they are in receipt of increments.
St. Patrice Ennis, president of the JCTU. Overseas news now. Iranian authorities have carried out a wave of arrests and multiple executions of people suspected of links to Israeli intelligence agencies in the wake of the recent war between the two countries. It follows what officials describe as an unprecedented infiltration of Iranian security services by Israeli agents. Iranian authorities suspect information fed to Israel played a part in a series of high-profile assassinations during the conflict. This included the targeted killings of senior commanders from the elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and nuclear scientists, which Iran attributes to operatives of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency working inside the country. Israel first attacked Iran on June 13. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho-Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Stay cool and save energy with the perfect ceiling fan for every room at prices you'll love. At Active Home Center, we've got fans to fit every space and every budget. From affordable options to premium designs with energy-efficient DC motors. Whether it's your bedroom, living room, or patio, there's a fan for every corner of your home. Hurry in for deep discounts on select fans while stocks last. Shop fans at Active Home Center in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Ready to take your business beyond borders? JAMPRO, the national agency driving exports and investments, is on a mission to supercharge Jamaican businesses. An agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, JAMPRO is bringing you an exciting radio series that's all about growing your exports and unlocking international opportunities. From expert insights to real opportunities, tune in to learn more about Jamaica's export advantage.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sanssouci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
All right, we are trying to find Ludlow McLean on the streets for Street Smarts 2, but his phone is not answering him. So, just looking at the live map of the part of the corporate area, the halfway tree live map, while we still try to get Ludlow. This is the view up Hope Road, free-flowing traffic coming to the stoplight at the major four-way intersection there, where NCB, York Pharmacy, and Mandela Park, and the buses in that lay-by right there are coming up to that point. It seems to be flowing freely, but of course Ludlow would have given us a comprehensive picture, not just in the corporate area, but in other major population centers. So we have that live view. Yes, Jermaine has picked it up, so that's what we're looking at in halfway tree St. Andrew. Clock NCB on the right of the picture, Mandela Park on the left, and the view we're looking at is up Hope Road. But we can't find Ludlow, and it's 7:22, so we shall delay no longer. We break and come back with Front Page.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Nationwide this morning, we're on the front page. The government has been ordered to pay $120 million to a man who spent nearly 50 years in prison without a trial. George Williams, a mentally ill man, spent his entire working life behind bars. Justice Sonia Wint Blair has awarded him $78.6 million in compensatory damages and $42 million in vindicatory damages.
The government had reportedly initially offered him only $6 million. Williams was taken into custody sometime in December 1970 on a charge of murder, but he was kept in custody at the court's pleasure because he was deemed unfit to plea. Justice Wint Blair found that Williams' right to due process and a fair hearing by an independent and impartial court within a reasonable time were breached by the state.
She said the failure to conduct periodic reviews to determine whether he had recovered from his mental health challenges and was fit to enter a plea was a breach of his rights. Williams' case was highlighted by a 2020 Indicom report. He was one of 7 mentally ill men who had spent at least 40 years in prison without trial.
Another man, Noel Chambers, died on January 27, 2020 at the age of 81 after spending 40 years in a prison without trial. The non-profit organization Stand Up for Jamaica has been advocating on behalf of Mr. Williams and others like him. And that being said, we're joined by the administrator and project coordinator at Stand Up for Jamaica, Catriona Clark.
Good morning, Catriona.
Hi, morning.
Good having you on this morning. So tell us about your initial reaction to the judgment and the order that has been made to the government to pay over this $120 million to the man who would have spent 50 years in prison without a trial.
Well, obviously, the justice system, it's not reasonable, not fair. While we're pleased for the verdict, I strongly believe that no amount of compensation can make up for the injustice Mr. Williams endured over the 50 years. And to top it off, I mean, we know how slow, compensation and justice is.
Yeah.
And even though he's been rewarded, based on the tardiness of the justice system, God forbid, he might not even live to enjoy a dollar of the compensation. So while we're pleased, we think that more could have been done for him.
And that being said, have you spoken with the Ministry of Justice? Have they given you any information in terms of their ability to deliver the judgment debt in a timely fashion?
No, I haven't personally spoken with the Ministry of Justice or any of its executives. I am not sure if our Executive Director, Carla Golotta, has, or if the lawyers have been able to speak with anyone there. But we can only hope that the compensation will be paid out in a timely fashion.
I also understand that he was not the only person, unfortunately, in that situation. One person died in prison. Are there any others who also have a case, so to speak, against the state regarding prison imprisonment for over such a long period of time?
Yes, unfortunately, there are many others. When we had I believe it was in 2020 when Noel Chambers, the gentleman you spoke of, died while incarcerated. There was a report that was done by Indicom, and it was discovered that at that time there were over 100 persons who were deemed as mentally ill and unfit to plead that were still in the justice system that had still not been sentenced to date. So Stand Up for Jamaica and our attorneys have been advocating with the government. We have filed affidavits in court to have these persons' cases reviewed and for them to be released if it is found that they have no case or charge against them. Besides, I can tell you that more than 50% of them that are currently there, if they have to be given a judgment in court, they have long spent their time because most of them have been there for over 20 years.
Wow, over 20 years. Now, yes. for Mr. Chambers that you referred to and we referred to earlier, is there anything that will happen to those who would have been close to Mr. Chambers, family members, etc., seeing that he had a similar issue, but he would have passed while being in prison?
Well, we are trying to include all mentally ill persons who are currently behind bars and have not gotten a sentence for an extended period of time. Mm-hmm. Mr. Chambers' case is a special one. Mm-hmm. So that would have to be handled with kids' gloves, apparently.
With who?
That would have to be handled by kids with kids' gloves. Like, it's
okay,
a
with
totally
kids' gloves.
different
Okay.
case. So that may have to be done on its own.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems that we have, though, is that the mentally ill persons who are currently behind bars without sentence for an extended period, most of their family members cannot be located. And one of the stipulations when the Ministry or Department of Correctional Services is releasing these persons is that because of their initial diagnosis with mental incapacitation, there has to be a family member who is willing and able to take up, for lack of a better word, the burden of caring for these persons if they are reintegrated into society.
Hold it for me there, Catherine. Hold it for me. We're going to go for a quick break and come back on that point.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is...
It's 7:30.
Fix up with Fleetwood products for your home improvement, personal care, and aromatherapy needs. They have your well-being in mind. Available at retailers island-wide. The temperature by Fleetwood Jamaica is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius out west in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in the cool hills of Mandeville.
Taxi drivers, ready to start earning more money? Join Amber on Time, Jamaica's taxi app built just for you. 0 commission in the first month, no catch. Plus get a free vehicle tracker to protect you and your ride. Stolen vehicle recovery and panic alarm response included. Download the Amber Captain app today and start driving. Or roll through to our office at 30 Westminster Road, Kingston and sign up on the spot. So whether you're the Kingston, Mobay, Ochi or anywhere else, work there. Come take advantage.
Laborites, we journey to the West Kingston Fortress for Area Council 1 meeting at the Fletcher's Land Community Centre this Sunday, June 29, 5 p.m. Come hear from JLP stalwarts Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie, who leads the charge. Hear Central St. Catherine MP Olivia Babs-Grange, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, MPs Bernal Charles Jr., Anne-Marie Vaz, Donovan Williams, Senators Abka Fitz-Henley, Delano Steve Wright, Shireen Golden Campbell, Councillor Donovan Samuels and others. JLP active and strong with plans to make Jamaica prosper. That's Area Council 1 meeting. Sunday, June 29, Fletcher's Land Community Centre, 5 p.m. And you don't know, we choose Jamaica every time.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to the front page. We are talking about that unfortunate situation where a man was held in prison for over 40 years. He's been awarded a judgment of $120 million regarding that unfortunate ordeal where he was held in prison without trial for nearly 50 years. And those assisting him to remedy that situation in terms of getting that judgment was the Stand Up for Jamaica. And we're speaking with their administrator and project coordinator, Catrian Clark. Ms. Clark, the matter regarding the situation of Noel Chambers that was brought to light in 2020. At the time, I recall some promises being made, some assurances being made that there would be some reforms and adjustments in the justice system to reduce the likelihood of this happening again. Have you noted in any situation where that has been done? Have you seen improvements in the last half decade?
Well, there have been more psychiatrists, psychologists that have been employed by the Department of Correctional Services that work in the prison system. So even though progress is slow, it is gradually happening. In my opinion, the government could take more drastic action in ensuring that, these things are corrected in a more timely manner. In terms of things being done to avoid incarceration of mentally ill persons, it's not our position that if you do a crime, you should just get off scot-free. But the government can try and correct some injustices by maybe, as we're advocating for, have implementations of diversion programs so that the system, the correctional system, isn't overcrowded by these persons going in that cannot, in their eyes, plead, and then they languish for extended period without any kind of justice. So reforms have not been quick enough in our estimation. But, little things are being done. I don't think they have made a big dent in what is happening or the persons that are there in getting them released. But much more can be done.
So are you saying it's a policy prerogative then? Because 1970 is a ways ago, 50 plus years ago. And
yes.
In 2025, this matter is being settled. So is it a policy prerogative? Is it a court administration division prerogative? Is it a Minister of Justice prerogative? How do you see it?
I believe that it has to start from the top.
Mm-hmm.
The government needs to have policies in place. There needs to be systemic changes in order to prevent injustices for the future and for those that are currently facing inhumane treatment. Because, as you know, as a citizen of the country, we have the right for fair and just and humane treatment. Mm-hmm. And this includes persons who are mentally incapacitated. So everybody has their part of the blame to take, but I do believe that if it doesn't start from the top, then it can't trickle down. The government has to step in and make policy changes, make changes in terms of how they handle persons going into the system on a whole, not just mentally ill persons. We do believe as well that if you look at what is happening in the society now, children are in school and you're hearing more and more they're fighting for silly things. It's as if nobody's mental awareness or it's something is happening with our people. And we think that if you start from that level where you're in the schools, you're getting early screening and detection for things like these, then ultimately, once you get into adulthood, some of those issues that you would have had as children may not, trigger you as much as it does if you do not get proper care and screening.
So on that point though, Katrin, as I was asking you about policy and court administration division of Jamaica. Mm-hmm. Now the CAD, the judges, the Chief Justice, they also have a very great responsibility in this whole process. So while there's a call for policy changes, I want to understand from you what you consider as the responsibility for the judges who would have had this or these cases, because you'd have said 100 plus, and haven't either made any recommendations. The cases are just sitting there in the system languishing, because that goes beyond a government policy. That goes to an implementation phase where the case is there, the case is probably in the case management system, but nothing happens. Nobody looks at it, nobody comes, nobody says anything about it, and it's just sitting, because that's basically what it sounds like. For 50 years, the case was just sitting. What do you say about that when people are asking those questions?
I don't think that the case management system, the court system on a whole, is doing enough to ensure that whatever cases are on their dockets, that they're following through as they should. There are a lot of cases that we currently have, mentally ill and otherwise, where persons go to the court and the case might be put off for, let's say, 3-4 months. And depending on protocol and how they set up to manage all of these things, you might have cases where they can't find the files, or, persons who are appointed as case managers, they don't do their due diligence to follow up to see what is happening. Everybody has a part to play, The government has a part to play. The Department of Correctional Services has a part to play because let's say, for instance, you're asked to remain in the custody of the Department of Correctional Services, and you're there for more than a year. There must be somebody there that's following up to say, wait, this person has been here for over a year. I've not seen them go to court. I've not seen anybody come and visit them. I've not seen a lawyer. I've not seen a case manager. What is happening? But I guess because of the overcrowding of the judicial system and the correctional system, there's a lot that is happening, and because of that, proper follow-through cannot be done. So I would say it starts from the court system, where if a case is appointed or brought to the court, there must be some kind of timeline to follow to say, okay, we need to get this reviewed every 3 months or every 6 months, and have somebody follow through. If that is not happening, then people will fall through the cracks, as happened with George Young and George Williams and Noel Chambers.
And before we wrap up, do you have any final words regarding the case at hand?
As I said, Stand Up for Jamaica, we are pleased that at least he got some kind of justice. We're not pleased for, we don't think that it's adequate, given the fact that he basically spent his entire life behind bars. He was arrested at age 20, I believe. And, a man's most fruitful years are between 20 and retirement. And he wasn't given an opportunity to, defend himself in court. He wasn't given an opportunity to make life. He doesn't have any children. All of that was taken away from him. And I don't think that $120 million will satisfy the kind of, injustice that he faced. But Stand Up for Jamaica is steadfast in the call of advocacy for persons who are not able to advocate for themselves. And we will continue to see how best we can go about helping persons from key population to get the justice that they deserve.
That is Catrian Clark. She's the administrator and project coordinator at Stand Up for Jamaica. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
We have more after this break, listeners.
Chuck fried chicken always ready. Burn Chuck, original crispy. Burn Chuck, Cajun spicy. Burn Chuck, a barbecue. Burn Chuck, we are going Burn Chuck.
The time brought to you by Burchak Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios is...
It's 7:44.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston. It's 27 out west in Montego Bay and 24 in Mandeville.
The name you trust to be your friend, to be a partner by your side. For generations we have been the one you trust as your financial guide. Sagicor, building trust for generations, helping hopes and dreams to grow, building our nation. Sagicor's the name you know. Sagicor.
Sagicor, celebrating 55 years.
Building trust for generations.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
Choose Jamaica.
Laborites, we journey to the West Kingston Fortress for Area Council 1 meeting at the Fletcher's Land Community Centre this Sunday, June 29, 5 p.m. Come hear from JLP Stalwart's Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie, who leads the charge. Hear Central St. Catherine MP Olivia Babs Grange, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, MPs Bernal Charles Jr., Anne-Marie Vaz, Donovan Williams, Senators Abka Fitz-Henley, Delano Steve Wright, Shireen Golden Campbell, Councillor Donovan Samuels, and others. JLP active and strong with plans to make Jamaica prosper. That's Area Council 1 meeting, Sunday, June 29, Fletcher's Land Community Centre, 5 p.m. And you don't know, we choose Jamaica every time.
You have to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. You're still on the front page, and we are moving over now to agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture has activated drought mitigation protocols in several parishes. This is due to a significant drop in rainfall in May. According to the ministry, recent data from the Met Service shows rainfall levels averaged just 65% of the 30-year normal, especially in south central and southeastern parishes. The ministry has earmarked approximately $100 million to provide immediate support to farmers during the drought period. Farmers can access assistance through the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, the Agro Investment Corporation, their members of parliament, and the Jamaica Agricultural Society. Well, to discuss the matters further, we have with us the Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green. Good morning, Minister. Minister Green? Oh dear, looks like we've lost the minister. I suppose we will have to try to reconnect with him. So it seems the island is now experiencing a drought. That's not what you want to hear. We're heading into summer. I can imagine the situation will not improve over the dry period coming up for the summer period. Well, it seems the ministry is taking the necessary actions with that $100 million to assist with addressing the drought circumstances. I imagine for those who rely on foodstuffs and other agricultural produce, it's going to be tight in the markets because droughts usually means we're going to see some price increases due to some shortages, and it's going to be interesting to see how we navigate that coming up. But as I said, we're trying to get in touch with the minister. So I mean, here in Kingston, it's been fairly wet. So I wonder if you listeners or viewers, are you experiencing severe drought issues in your neck of the woods? I understand we have the minister back, Minister Green.
Yes, morning, Siobhan.
Good morning, Minister. So it seems we're going through a bit of a dry spell, Minister. How severe are we talking?
We are going through a dry spell. And I think what you see now is that the government is better able, one, to use the data to be much more proactive in our response and not wait until we're in full-scale drought before we start providing some support to our farmers. I think that's very, very important. So we now regularly look at the information coming from the Met Services, and what we would have seen is that in some of our parishes and in some parts of certain parishes, the rainfall is below the 30-year average, and in a number of instances, significantly below. In one parish, it's about 70% below. In other parishes, 30, 40% below. or 30-year normal. And once you see that, it means that agriculture is going to be challenged because a lot of our farmers still depend on rainfall for their agricultural enterprise to do well. But we were also getting some reports, so clearly we have RADA out in the field. So definitely in parts of South St. Elizabeth, parts of South Manchester, parts of Clarendon, and parts of South St. Catherine, we had been getting reports from farmers that they're going through persistent dry conditions. There's a significant increase in the sort of demand for water and applications to the National Irrigation Commission for Water. So seeing all of that, Siobhan, we decided to, chip into action and provide some resources to RADA to boost what we do with the National Irrigation Commission. So we've already provided about $10 million to RADA for them to be able to engage private truckers to start helping some of our farmers that are having difficulty.
So that relief has already gone out?
So that relief has already been distributed. It was distributed this week in parishes of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, I think Clarendon. We do have some more to send out in St. Anne and St. Catherine, where we're seeing, and that should happen next week. So we've already sent that out, and clearly, having dispatched it from the ministry, getting into RADA, I expect that some steps would now be taken to engage those private truckers. I think farmers will start to see some of that relief next week, and they can reach out to RADA, reach out to their extension officer. Additionally, we would have already started to procure through the AIC things like mulch. We do know that if the drought persists, then a number of our farmers who use grass as one of the means to conserve the little water that they have, grass becomes very scarce and much more expensive. So we are providing some support to AIC to start purchasing grass in areas that we still have good supply. So we would expect that to start next week. But one of the things that we did, Siobhan, is that knowing that we normally have these sort of dry conditions, looking at the forecast for this year, we started procurement earlier this year for some small irrigation kits, because in times of dryness, in times of drought, the little water that you have to use it efficiently. So storage and things like irrigation systems are important. So we had already procured about 1,300 small irrigation kits, and those are now ready. And we are going to start distribution of those kits over the next 3 weeks. So ultimately, with our farmers, and clearly we're going to target the areas that are most severely hit by dryness, so that when our farmers do get some water, do get some truck water, they can store it and use it efficiently.
Minister, based on the conditions and the severity, should consumers expect or anticipate some level of fluctuation in the prices of their produce?
Not yet. It's still early days. When we do approach this time period, farmers normally have a sort of double jeopardy that they are trying to treat with. And that double jeopardy is clearly extreme dryness, sometimes drought, but then also moving quickly from that into torrential rainfall and, unfortunately, oftentimes storms. And hopefully we don't have any this year, but hurricanes. So a lot of our farmers are very wary. They are very guarded in terms of how much they outlay during this period, so that if any loss comes, it's not too much. So we normally see some fluctuation in prices, but if everything remains the same, and based on the fact that we are trying our best now to be a lot more proactive in our interventions, then there won't be the vast variations that you saw, for example, after Hurricane Beryl. Clearly, we'll watch the dryness. We've looked at what the Met Office is in relation to June. We're hoping we do get some of the rains that are typical in June, and if it happens, then it will ease some of the burden. But as you see, what we're doing now is proactively intervening so that our farmers will be able to bring those crops to fruition, so the consumers won't suffer from any great fluctuation in prices.
Okay, Minister, just before we wrap up, then for those farmers who are listening, those in the agricultural business who need the assistance, how do they now reach out to get it?
Yeah, so clearly, one of the things we've done is try to ramp up our NIC and to move around some of the assets to better serve the areas that are going through drought. I say to the farmers, reach out to RADA, and we would expect that they would start engaging private truckers, and by next week they can provide some support in trucking the water to you. We will start distributing our irrigation kits. So again, reach out to your extension officer. We do know that we already have a list of the farmers. Clearly, we're going to focus on the farmers that are in some of the hardest hit areas. Additionally, I say to the farmers, we do still have a program where we can work with you as individual farmers or with farming groups to establish catchment ponds. Why this is very, very important, and for individual farmers listening, if you do the excavation, we will provide you with the pond liner free of cost. For groups that are listening, if you find an area in your community, we will do the excavation and the development of that pond free of cost. Even in periods of dryness, you do have bouts of rainfall. And what we don't want are those bouts of rainfall to go to waste. So we're saying to the farmers, reach out to RADA. We've already done 32 of these catchment ponds since the start of the year. Larger work with some of our private farmers, with our our private entrepreneurs. So we're saying to the farmers, if you're interested, reach out to RADA. We will help you in that regard, so that when the rain comes, you can catch it, you can utilize it in your farms during this dry period.
That is Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green. Thank you so much for joining us, Minister. All the best, and all the best to our farmers. Well, we are going to take the break shortly, listeners, but as I said, we have those difficulties going on in the southern, eastern, and south central parishes, St. Elizabeth, and those areas. I trust things go well for you, the farmers, and other peoples in those areas as we get through this difficulty in terms of the drought conditions. But we now take a break, and then we come back with Across Jamaica.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 7:58.
Success, powered by learning. The temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us, is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston. It's 27 out west in Montego Bay and 24 in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's Across Jamaica this morning.
And across Jamaica this Friday morning, 37 Jamaicans have been presented with the Governor General's Achievement Awards for 2025. Among them are veteran educator and president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Dr. Mark Smith, senior reporter at Jamaica Information Service, JIS, Garfield Angus, and founder of the Free Your Mind Foundation, Dr. Melissa Flinch. The presentations were made at King's House on Thursday. The Governor General's Achievement Award Scheme was established in 1991 as part of the Governor General's Program for Excellence. It recognizes and honors outstanding Jamaicans and persons of Jamaican heritage for their contribution to national development. This with a view to promoting a culture of excellence and national pride across the country and the diaspora. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, is encouraging persons in Portland and surrounding areas to utilize its new office in the parish. It's located at Shop 1 to 3, number 21 to 23 Harbour Street in the heart of Port Antonio. The new facility began operations in April and offers full passport services with a standard 14-day turnaround for processing. Express options of 7 or 5 days are also facilitated. PICA's Portland office replaces a previous pre-check facility at the post office, which was limited to document verification and submission. Director of Customer Service, Deli Vassell, says the new facility aims to improve accessibility and convenience for customers who previously had to travel to Kingston or St. Anne for services. 15-year-old Jeline Reynolds, otherwise called Boom Boom of Mount Carey in Anchovy, St. James, has been missing since Saturday, June 21. She is of brown complexion, medium build, and about 4 feet 11 inches tall. Reports from the Anchovy police are that about 2 p.m., Jeline was last seen at church in Mount Carey wearing a burgundy dress and a pair of black and white striped slippers. All efforts to locate her have proven futile. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Jeline Reynolds is being asked to contact the Anchovy police at 876-956-4100, the 119 police emergency number, or the nearest police station. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Friday morning. I'm Tawna Thomas.
So what you get?
The new Popeyes blackened chicken sandwich, my girl. The flavor just hits different.
Blackened like it burn up?
Nah, man. Blackened because of the color of the Louisiana herbs and spices. Blackened like the flavor buck. No breading and the seasoning soaked deep in the chicken. But get yours and try it, cause me nah share, yeah. Get the new Popeyes blackened chicken sandwich. Limited time only.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Laborites, we journey to the West Kingston Fortress for Area Council 1 meeting at the Fletcher's Land Community Centre this Sunday, June 29, 5 p.m. Come hear from JLP Stalwart's Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie, who leads the charge. Hear Central St. Catherine MP Olivia Babs-Grange, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, MPs Bernal Charles Jr., Anne-Marie Vaz, Donovan Williams, Senators Abka Fitz-Henley, Delano Steve Wright, Shireen Golden Campbell, Councillor Donovan Samuels, and others. JLP active and strong with plans to make Jamaica prosper. That's Area Council 1 meeting, Sunday, June 29, Fletcher's Land Community Centre, 5 p.m. And you don't know, we choose Jamaica every time.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
We're back with It's Nationwide this morning. It's World MSME Day. World MSME Day raises awareness of the essential contributions made by micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, businesses that represent 90% of all companies and over 70% of jobs worldwide. World MSME Day is being celebrated under the theme Enhancing the Role of Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises, MSMEs, as drivers of sustainable growth and innovation. For more, I'm joined by CEO and Trade Administrator of the Trade Board Limited, retired Major Dr. Hugh Blake. Good morning, Dr. Blake.
Good morning. Good morning to you and your listeners.
Good having you on, Dr. Blake. So to start, we want to understand what exactly does the Trade Board, the Jamaica Trade Board, what role does it play in helping Jamaican businesses, particularly MSMEs, access export markets? Okay, to begin with, there are a number of trade agreements that offers tremendous benefit to MSMEs wishing to export. And what we do, we assist MSMEs in accessing these benefits. So we actually explain the trade agreements and literally walk them through the process. There are a number of benefits to be obtained, and sadly, we are not utilizing these in the way that we should. We also ensure that MSMEs understand the regulatory requirements both locally and in the destination location. We have a number of platforms that assist in this regard, where MSMEs can actually go on and find out what are the compliance requirements for the respective markets. Right. We also assist them in certifying the source of their product. And we can talk a little bit more about that. We also issue export licenses, for specified commodities, etc. So there's in the whole ecosystem of exporting, the Trade Board plays a pivotal role in assisting MSMEs. So when you talk about the Trade Board, there are a lot of things that people want to understand. Another thing that some businesses would like to understand is what types of certifications or documents do entrepreneurs who, they're looking at the international markets, what do they need when entering these international markets, and how exactly does the Trade Board assist them in that process? Right. So from the Trade Board end, there are two principal documents that are required, right? Firstly is the Certificate of Origin, and this certifies the source of the product, the inputs to the product. Importantly, it is what is used to determine whether the products meet the requirement or the criteria of the respective trade agreements, right? Outside of the Certificate of Origin, we sometimes offer what is called a Letter of Origin, really just for traceability purposes, so that the importing country can know exactly where the product originating from. These are international requirements. And the other thing that we issue or we provide are export license, right? And for specified commodities, because there are some items that are controlled, such as pharmaceuticals. Yeah. Any substance that might be of detriment to health and that sort of things. In addition to that, there are some other items like precious metals. Certainly, if you have gold and all, you wouldn't want people to just pick up your gold and run overseas with it, right? So you have to control that. It's simple things like
some things that we take for granted, like, for example, our natural woods, like lignum vitae, for example. You can't just pack it up on a ship and send it overseas. You have to get an export license for that sort of item.
So we've heard about tools like the Export Jamaica and the Export Academy. How are these initiatives helping MSMEs to prepare for export to other international markets?
Right. So the two tools that you mentioned are quite significant, and it's a great source of assistance to the MSME sector. The Export Jamaica, in particular, assists potential exporters or even existing exporters to find markets for their products and to identify the compliance requirements. And so using this tool, they are able to straddle very easily the compliance requirement. It is a tool that provides a tremendous amount of assistance in terms of the things that exporters require, like duty calculators, landed cost calculators, selling price calculators, currency converters. The things that exporters need on an ongoing day-to-day basis for smooth transactions. That site provides all of that. In fact, you can go on that site and find counterparts. Who is selling what, who's buying, how much they're buying, where they're sourcing their material from. And this covers a very wide segment of the world. I would say basically the entire world. We're now covering over 190 countries. So there is a tremendous amount of information that can be gathered. It's a market intelligence and compliance tool. The other thing is, it's one thing to know where you want to sell and to find markets and all of that, but it's equally important to know how the process of exporting actually takes place, how it is done. And so for that, we have the Export Academy, which offers customized training to exporters. If you're interested in exporting, you go on the Export Academy and you learn how to do it. Customize, I underline customize because it's very important. Because you don't just do a very, comprehensive and wide course on exporting. You focus on what you have to export, your product, and it takes you through the entire process, all the touch points, the various places in governments that you have to go and sort out your documentations, etc., all the requirements. It takes you through that on a product-specific basis. So the assistance is quite, tailored, very tailored. And business people don't have a lot of time, right? You're focusing on all kind of other things about your business. So this is a very, very friendly tool that allows you to get things done with minimum amount of time. Once you go on and you learn the process that's specific to your product, it's a smooth way for you.
Yeah. So in your experience, what are some of the common mistakes or challenges that MSMEs face when they're trying to get into those export markets, and how exactly can the Trade Board help to rectify some of those challenges?
those are many.
Yeah.
Believe me. One of the things that they do on a almost consistent basis is to, neglect the regulatory requirement, both on the local side and in the destination markets. And as I said earlier before, Export Jamaica helps to understand what those regulations are. So you can actually go on and find out what the regulations are in the respective country related to your product, and so you are able to, negotiate to go through to meet the requirements of those regulations. Then there is also the problem associated with inadequate packaging and labeling. Some of the labels lack the required information, related to size and quantity and so on. Also, there is poor market research. Right? This is a big problem. A lot of people, a lot of businesses, especially MSMEs, tend to go with gut feelings, shooting from the hip, so to speak, and not doing detailed enough market research, and so they don't understand fully the consumer's preference and pricing structure and competitors' positioning in their target markets. And so this can lead to a lot of problems for them. They do not understand very clearly, some don't, the logistics requirements, Exporting isn't just about shipping. It's about timing, documentation, etc. And importantly, we're finding reliable partners to trade with, right? And so these are all issues that the tools that we offer can help to deal with. Of course, there is a lack of proper financial planning. They don't understand very well their cost structure. They're not taking into consideration foreign exchange risk.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing, and the payment terms and what that means for their business, how that helps the business to flow.
And that segues into, I think, my final question to you, Doc. It's why is it so important for Jamaican business owners, particularly those who are considering export, to understand things like the certificates of origin, the preferential trade agreements, when they're looking at planning and getting their business scaled to the next level?
Right. So as I alluded to before, the certificate of origin really identifies whether you're meeting the prerequisites or the requirements of specific trade agreements. So when you make a trade agreement, there are certain things that you accept, the agreeing parties, that so much of your material must come from regional or domestic sources. So much from we'll accept so much from extra-regional sources, and then actually look at the percentage of inputs to your product that actually comes from regional or domestic sources, right? And their trade agreement specifies what percentage meets the requirement, will allow you, to access the benefits of the trade agreement. So the certificate of origin really is just simply saying where that we certify as Jamaica where the actual product was made and where the ingredients or the inputs or raw material to that product comes from and in what percentage, and it makes up what percentage of the actual finished product. Right? So it's extremely important to understand that that aspect of it. And so what we do is we actually go to your business places and we look at your production process, etc. We do a product analysis to satisfy ourselves that what you say are the inputs to your product. That's actually so, and the quantities that you say you're using. You meet those requirements. Yes, sorry.
That's all the time we have, Doc. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Right. Yeah, it's a very complex and long, explanation.
Mhm.
But there's so much to understand about trade agreements and so on. It basically requires a whole segment for itself.
It does. But we're grateful for your time, Doc. That's CEO and Trade Administrator, Trade Board Limited, retired Major Dr. Hugh Blake.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we're going for a break, listeners. When we're back, we'll have JamPro Connect.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 8:20.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 25 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Haughton's RX, the caring pharmacy, the Yes We Can pharmacy, the Yes It's in Stock pharmacy, the House Call Delivery pharmacy, the RX Pack mobile app pharmacy, the RX Plus digital wallet pharmacy, the 20% reward pharmacy, the easy to remember number pharmacy, 876 RX0 RX, the easy access 24/7 pharmacy, Haughton's RX, the convenient pharmacy, #wellness, #simply delivered.
You've led teams, built businesses, and influenced change. Now, lead research that transforms your field. Apply now for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean's Doctor of Business Administration or Doctor of Professional Practice. Flexible, research-based, and designed for working professionals. All UCC programs are accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Learn more and apply online at ucc.edu.jm. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's once again time for JamPro Connect. Doing business in the Caribbean has never been riper with opportunities than it is today. JamPro, through the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, continues to champion the call for local businesses to export their products and services in the region. Through JamPro's export and investment facilitation services, local businesses can access opportunities to grow their businesses and brands. To discuss, I am joined by JamPro's Vice President of Investment and Linkages, Christopher Denny. Good morning, Mr. Denny.
Good morning to you, Siobhan, and good morning to all your listeners this morning. A warm good morning from JamPro.
It is good to hear from JamPro again, and the government continues to champion the call for more exports from local companies, including in the region such as the Caribbean. Please tell us now what opportunities exist out there.
There are a number of opportunities. But first, I wanted to point out that JamPro is very actively involved in bringing the Jamaican businesses to access those opportunities. JamPro and Jamaican-owned businesses and businessmen just returned from our fourth mission from Guyana. So we took a team down to Guyana. Forging strategic connections across the borders is a crucial thing for local entrepreneurs to consider, especially against the backdrop of some of the current trends that we're seeing in trade. We recognize that we need to spread our risks across a number of trading partners so that we can be resilient to any difficulties that may exist in any one area. At JamPro, we continue to explore those opportunities to achieve and to engage new markets and to achieve a deeper penetration there too. So particularly within CARICOM, right? So there are, in fact, provisions in place through the CARICOM Trade Treaty for us to access all of the participating CARICOM countries to that trade agreement. We can access those markets duty-free. That is the entitlement. One important point that I want to make is that we recently received a presentation from the CPSO, which is based in Trinidad. That's the Caribbean Private Sector Organization led by Dr. Patrick Antoine. And he shared important findings where there are excellent opportunities for trade within the region, where there are goods that we import as separate countries on our own initiative, import various goods into the region that can be acquired within the region at a lower cost and matching or superior quality. So there's no reason for us not to be trading with each other.
Interesting. And while I know Jampro's business is facilitating exports, there is, I'm sure, an interest for those people seeking to import products from Jamaica to come here and get an understanding as to how they can link up with the suppliers. How does Jampro facilitate that?
Jampro, again, actively involved in facilitating and making markets happen. Most recently, we hosted, in partnership with the JMEA, the Expo 2025. We hosted over 400 B2B meetings, right, from Jamaican companies with regional and global and local partners as well. So Expo, which I think everybody would have heard about Expo, we invite buyers, trading partners from all over to come to Jamaica and participate at Expo, and we try to make some matches, right? So going on from that, Expo 2025 this year had over 800 buyers who came and attended and participated in various ways. On July 29th through to the 31st this year at the Montego Bay Convention Center, the government of Jamaica, through Jampro, is in partnership with Caribbean Export, will be hosting the Caribbean Investment Forum. This is a mega event. It is not to be missed, right? The keynote address there is going to be from the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness. Caribbean Investment Forum is a region's premier platform for investors, entrepreneurs, and policymakers to connect, collaborate, and capitalize on high growth opportunities under the theme Smart, Green, Connected. Emphasis is being placed on the following areas: sustainable agriculture, digital transformation, green economy transition, logistics, and transportation. So that particular 3-day event is going to have a very interesting format. We know that there are going to be investors who are coming from within and without the region. And we have a number of business people who will be pitching their opportunities to investors and to also make markets. So it is going to be an exciting 3 days for business and trade in Jamaica. I want to quickly point out as well something else that Jampro is involved in, which is the Jamaica Agribusiness Investment Forum, which takes place September 17th through 19th, with the obvious focus on agriculture and agribusinesses. And we're going to be looking at new technology, new ways of doing the same things that we've done before, but we want to be more efficient, things that are more environmentally friendly. I could go on and on. Don't miss that one. That is also going to be at the Mobay Convention Center.
So, I mean, you gave us quite a few dates there. You spoke about the CIF, which is coming up, and well, so just please give us a breakdown again as to some of the activities that business owners can look forward to as the CIF when they're connecting with their regional partners, and then just give us some of those important dates that they should look out for.
Okay, so the dates, again, it's going to be at the Mobay Trade Center. I would point out that the Caribbean Investment Forum is a link. You could Google that and you'll get the link, and all the information is there where you can register. We encourage investors to register. Investors can be assessed and they can gain access to come and look at the opportunities that are there. We encourage small business, MSMEs to look at it as well, to come and learn, come and see what opportunities may be there for them. It's going to be based in Montego Bay. One of the things I want to share with you about the format is that there's going to be an opportunity for project stakeholders to make pitches to investors. There's going to be a pitch city. I think actually the applications for the pitch city may be closing up very, very quickly. So I would encourage listeners who are interested to check that online access very, very quickly, or you can call us at Jampro and we can provide you with more information. And there's also going to be a pitch contest, which we definitely don't have any further opportunity to apply for. Those pitches are being groomed and they're going to be facing a special set of investors, and there's some exciting opportunities for them as well. So there's going to be a lot to see at the Caribbean Investment Forum.
And that is July 29th to the 31st?
That is July 29th to the 31st. We're literally counting down. It's just a month away, so don't miss it.
So you heard there, listeners. If you are a business owner or looking to get into the export business, please go down to the CIF this July 29th to the 31st at the Montego Bay Convention Center, correct?
That is correct, sir. And again, for the Jamaica Agribusiness Investment Forum, Mobile Conference Center as well, September 17th to 19th. Thank you very much.
So you heard it there, listeners. Please go out, enjoy yourself, and pitch your ideas to JamPro and get your business in the export market off the ground. Thank you for joining us, Christopher Denny. He is the President of Investment and Linkages at JamPro. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
The time by Grace Good Move is
8:31.
JANAC Global Accreditation, promoting consumer confidence, facilitating market access through internationally accepted accreditation and training services. Accreditation, your visa for global access. Accredited once, accepted everywhere. Call JANAC Global Accreditation at 876-968-7790 or visit our website at www.janac.gov.jm.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for road transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
We're back with you. We are turning our attention to sports. It is that time when the National Senior and Junior Athletic Championships takes place. You know the date. You've been hearing what's happening. If you have not been hearing, then you need to be there or be square, I guess. Yeah. But it's that time. The questions have been asked, who will be at the championships. Questions have been asked, of course, when we saw that some persons were left out of the listing. For those of us who are, real track and field fans, when we saw that there was no Elaine Thompson Hera and a couple of others. And then, of course, recently we saw the switching of allegiance from Jamaica to Turkey. But it brings all the light and attention to this time in our history when, of course, we look toward the World Championships and our athletes are gearing up, getting ready at the National Stadium where, of course, they're doing their races, etc. So we have a brown envelope. I want to know what's in the envelope. Do I envy what's in the envelope? Maybe I do, but I won't say that on air because it is inappropriate for me to say that. But what I will say is that I have... So can I look in the envelope, producer? I have been sanctioned to look in the envelope.
I always wondered, don't ask the producer, is it envelope or envelope?
I think it's probably on
envelope.
I think it's probably on envelope. English language is so weird.
Because you envelop something, but you put something in an envelope.
In an
correct?
envelope, yeah, it's something like that. Okay, so we have 2 tickets for Friday. That is what we have for we have 2 tickets for Friday, and these are grandstand tickets for those who want to go and be a part of the national trials. We have 2 tickets, and of course, can give one to YouTube and one to the callers. All right, so I'm giving 1 ticket, 1 Friday ticket, or am I giving the set? Okay, I'm giving the set. I just have to tell you what I'm being told on the back end. So I'm giving the set of these
Poor
Friday
Sandra
tickets.
is frustrating our poor producer.
I'm going to set up these Friday tickets, Mr. King, to anybody who calls me right here, right now, and tells the date range for the National Junior and Senior Championships. The date range. So it's 3 days. So tonight, for those who don't know, I'm breaking it here. Right here. I'm breaking it. I'm breaking it for my tickets, for those who want the ticket. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, legend in her own right, legend as a Jamaican female sprinter. She will be in the stadium competing professionally for the last time this evening. And based on that, I have these tickets. Who do I have on the phone, Michelle? Stephen. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning. I'm calling for the dates for the tickets.
Yes, give me the dates, Stephen.
Yes, the championship should be from Thursday, the 26th, to Sunday, the 29th.
Is that correct, Siobhan?
That is correct.
That is correct, Stephen. These tickets are yours. You will get to bring somebody with you. I don't know who you're going to bring, but bring somebody with you and watch Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce light that track up one last time. Stephen is our winner. Congratulations to you, Sir Stephen.
Thank you very much.
All right. And that is it for our giveaway. Michelle, just, do the organization. For those in the YouTube chat, Siobhan, find me a question, please. Please, Siobhan, find a question.
Oh, you want
please.
a question?
Yes, Siobhan.
Ah, boy. Here's where I wish George was here, because I'm not really the sports fanatic. But here, I've thought of one now, please.
You thought of one? All right.
Since in the spirit and the theme, the first person in the YouTube chat who can set the first gold medal win of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce's Olympics, what was the date? Year, full proper date. Year, month, day.
All right, this is for this. These are Saturday tickets. No, these are Saturday tickets. So my producer, she brought them in a little bit late, but I got them. They're here now. And these are Saturday tickets. So YouTubers, it's for you. Yes.
So as I said, it has to be the year, the month, and the day, not just the year. So if you can give me the full year, month, day that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce won her first Olympic gold medal.
We're waiting. Yes, I'm killing time for those who are wondering. You might say I'm being long-winded, but I just don't want to part with these tickets. I don't want to say it on air, but I don't want to part with these tickets. So you need to give us the answer to this question. These tickets are for Saturday. It's Grandstand. It's Section S, Row K. Yes.
Sharifa Griffith says August 17, 2008. Is that accurate?
Is that accurate? I know it's 2008, but is it August 17? Siobhan, do the do the proper checks. We need to check, double check, pre-check, and ensure. And Juliet Sanchez, they say you can't win this one. But the question Siobhan is asking is the exact date for when Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce would have won her first gold medal.
Let me see here. It was at the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games, and that date was... yeah, she's right. She's right.
Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
So
I thought I'd get a
Griffiths-
sound from our musical maestro, but Sharifa Griffiths, you are the winner. You are the winner of 2 tickets for Saturday's National Junior Senior Championships. Of course, you'll be sitting over there in the grandstand enjoying what's happening and seeing our athletes perform as they get ready to take on the world, which of course we'll continue to applaud them and celebrate them. Yes, I'm parting with these tickets. We had Stephen and now we have Sharifa. Boy, Siobhan, I'm parting with the tickets.
You wanted to go yourself.
Oh my gosh, you know, I love a good track and field event. I love a good track and field event. I was watching, I've probably been at, in the last couple of years, I've probably been at almost every event except Champs, because Champs is a different creature. But it's because it's a lot of people, a lot of students, and it's way heavier. As a mental toll to be, prepared for everything going on around you. But as it relates to all the other events, Grand Slam, track, all those things that came to Jamaica, all the other events that we have, I've really been there to just watch our athletes perform, cheer them on. And I've been watching the Reggae Boys as much as I can, and they're in the stadium here in Jamaica as well. It's good. It's good when you have those experiences. It really allows you to appreciate when you see your athletes, getting ready, warming up, and then going out there to perform. Yeah, I like it. And I think it should be interesting, this championships, as they prepared for World Champs.
Yes, and kudos to our Jamaican athletes. I believe in terms of the physical toll that any singular sports event can have on an athlete, I think the track and field events are some of the heaviest in terms of the physical toll and the is the term life expectancy of a track athlete. And Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has weathered the storm. So kudos to her and what she has accomplished, not only for herself, but for Jamaica. So please, if you are able, go out to celebrate her last event. As one of Jamaica's most premier athletes. So thanks to Shelly-Ann Fraser for all she has done for the island.
Yeah, she's done really well. She's really, really, really done well. Gold, silver, bronze, showed up, showed out. When persons doubted her, she still went out there, did what she had to do. I remember when she got injured a couple of years ago, persons were like, well, she's done a time, and she got injured, and she just went back, Siobhan, back to the drawing board, sorted the injury, back to training, and she was out there again at the top of her game, past the life expectancy, as they would say, of
I don't use life expectancy so like she's going to, and it's not life expectancy, the shelf life.
Shelf life.
Shelf life
That's
for an athletic career.
Yes,
That's the better term.
You're right. So the shelf life, she has elapsed that. She's shown us that, listen, I can do it. I still can do it as long as I'm training and getting what I need to get done. And yeah, it has been magnificent to watch, really. And I applaud her. I know Jamaica applauds her. And trust me, she's even better in person. Really, really short though. I booked her up. I think last year I booked her up at a spot.
You're right, when I first met Shelly-Ann Fraser, I was surprised. I mean, they call her the Pocket Rocket for a reason, but when I actually met her, and I could say, yes, the nickname is perfect.
It's perfect. Trust. I was saying I was in an establishment. We were buying some healthy food, and she was there, but I didn't realize it was her. I was just like, this lady is pretty short. And then she turned around and I was like, wait. She didn't raise her price, and she was just so kind and nice, and she's very relatable, and she's just a really nice person, a nice aura. And yeah, it's good. She has good personality. She gets out there, she gets it done, and she has been phenomenal.
And it's not easy to master that aspect of the craft, because we see them on the track and we expect them to perform well, but off the track is when their personality comes to the fore, their ability to handle media, handle criticism, and to put forward the proper image that you expect from a professional. And she has mastered that craft.
Yes,
so she has mastered all aspects of her craft, both on and off the field.
Indeed. But that's all the time we have. And it's now time for our birthday. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to get into our birthdays.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 8:47.
The Birthday Club is brought to you by Burger King. Stretch your dollar at Burger King with a new Double King combo. 1 original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Jr. with cheese. Plus a small fries and drink for only $1,300.
Just a touch, baby. I look around since city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, I can see the sun light up the sky, so I hit the road and over.
Alrighty. The Jamaica Legion, in association with the Jamaica Defense Force, presents the National Poppy Appeal 5K Run Walk. Registration is still open. The Poppy Run will be on the 29th of June 2025. Warm-up time is 5:30 a.m. Run time is 6 a.m. The cost for registration is $2,000 per person. Groups of 10 or more, $1,800 per person. Now, that is on Sunday, and registration is still open. So it's the Poppy Run, the 5K Run Walk, and it would be at Caymanas Park in Portmore, St. Catherine, the Independent City entrance. Yeah, so if you're into 5Ks, this is for you. Yeah, now this is for me. I've been training. I'm ready. If you see me there running past you, remember I told you I was training. I'm ready. But it's time for our birthdays. It's time for our birthdays. Arthur Barrows, wishing you a very happy birthday. Bly Steve, wishing you a very, very, very happy birthday. Derek Birthday Burns, wishing you a happy birthday. Of course, more life to you, Derek. Sandra Johnson, it's your day, it's your birthday, and we want to wish you a very happy birthday from your NTM family, NNN fam, of course. Shanae Smith, it's your day, it's your birthday. Wishing you a very, very happy birthday, Shanae. Happy birthday to you. Tracy Emelisa Cohn Richardson, it is your birthday, and we're wishing you a very, very happy birthday. Tamara Watson, we are wishing you a very happy birthday. It's June 27th, 2025, and we want to wish you a very happy birthday. Siobhan, do you see any in the chat over there? Do you see
Well, I see a special birthday greeting. Please send happy birthday to my grandson Daniel Clark. That's from Paulette Gowie, wishing her grandson Daniel Clark a happy birthday today.
Yeah. Mr. King, find that song for me, please. I'm going to get a song. I'm going to get a song for you. Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is?
Special birthday greetings to the legend Freddie McGregor, Jamaican singer, 69 years today. Happy birthday, Mr. McGregor.
If you know these songs, I See It in You, Stop Loving You, I Was Born a Winner, Big Ship Sailing, Key to the City, That Girl. It's from Freddie McGregor. Big Ship Sailing on the Ocean, a reggae legend, Freddie McGregor. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Freddie. Alright, I have happy birthday to young Jalen Forbes. He's one today. Happy birthday to you, Jalen Forbes. Happy birthday to you. Pamela Turner is wishing her grandson Quanti happy birthday. Quanti, it's your day. Happy birthday. Coming to you from your grandma Pamela. I think that's it. Wait, is that it? No, that's not it. That's not it. I have another one here. Happy birthday to Diane Clark Otti, the no-nonsense lady who handles the kitty. Diane Clark Otti, we're wishing you a very, very, very happy birthday. Another very important birthday we have Miss Doreen Sergio, Miss Dependable. Your birthday will be on Sunday. Wishing you a very, very happy birthday when it comes. And of course, that's from Eureka team members there, Diane and Doreen. Very happy birthdays to you.
Arlene Rowe is wishing happy birthday to Kerry Ann Parks in Portland. It's coming from her and her nephew Okilo as well. So happy birthday to Kerry Ann Parks out there in Portland, coming from Arlene Rowe.
Sailing on the ocean. Whoa, 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 whoa. Say we're sailing on the ocean. Yeah. Say there's a time when the sea gets rough, the wind is blowing and the fishes keep moving. What are you doing, Mr. Man? Sit down, hold on tight, get ready, cause we are sailing. Big ship sailing on the ocean. We don't need no commotion. Big ship sailing on the ocean. We got to come over.
The Birthday Club was brought to you by Burger King. Stretch your dollar at Burger King with a new Double King combo. 1 original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Junior with cheese. Plus a small fries and drink for only $1,300.
Fairborn are winning this morning. It's Friday and we have to go. We leave it there. It was indeed a good show. We have to big up, of course, our super producer, Michelle McCrae Smith. Despite the fact that I wanted the tickets, she said the tickets are for you. Of course, we big up our super editor, Kimon Thompson. Always there doing what she needs to do to ensure we're on the right track. Or musical maestro, Jermaine King, wake up yourself. As usual, on top of it, the right music, the right time. Yeah, it is what it is. It's Friday, and yeah, I'm Sandre Roda.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good morning.
You just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
On the outside looking in, dreaming of holding you tight. Well, I guess I've had my day. You let me go my way. It's me who has to pay. A loser, they call me, but now I'm a winner.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.